Hello again, kindergarten. I hope you enjoyed the shape song. We're going to make something that you saw in the video, and it's a train. It's going to be a shape train. So I have a big piece of white paper. If you don't have a big piece of white paper, you could always tape or glue two pieces together to make it bigger. And then I have some scrap paper, some different colors that I'm going to use to make my shapes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is cut out some brown rectangles, and they're going to be the track that the train is going to go on. So if you have whole pieces of paper, there's already straight edges on them, so then you can just decide how big do you want your rectangles to be. So I'm going to see about how many I need. Looks like I'm going to need about 3 pieces of paper. And then I'm going to cut them into smaller rectangles. So that's a big rectangle. So I think I'm going to cut it into each one into 4 pieces. And then they actually might look more like squares. So I'm going to be gluing those down. Now, if you don't want to cut out paper for your train tracks, you could just draw rectangles. 2. I think I only need half of this one. Okay, so now I'm going to move these up and I'm going to glue my track on. And I might make it down a little bit further. So I'm giving myself a nice line of glue, and I'm also leaving a little space between each brown rectangle. Okay, so that was the first part. Now we're going to start making the train. So I'm going to make my engine of my train green. So I'm going to cut out a bigger rectangle and a smaller rectangle. So for my big rectangle, I'm just going to cut the bottom of that paper. And then my smaller rectangle, I'll cut out this side. So then I'm going to put it together and see if that's the way I want it. So I think that it's a little too big. So I'm going to trim it down a little bit. All right, that looks better to me. So I'm going to go ahead and glue my engine down. This will be the main part of the engine, and this would be where the engineer sits to drive the train. Okay, so most trains have a front part that comes down to a point. So I'm going to make a triangle this time. So I'm going to take this black piece of paper, and this edge is going to be the bottom of my triangle. And I'm going to cut from the corner, diagonal, and again, to get a triangle with 3 sides. And then I'm going to glue that onto the front of the train. And then I'm going to make this an old-fashioned train, so I also want a little smokestack that lets the steam out. So I'm going to do a real skinny rectangle to put right here. And I'm going to glue that on. Okay. So far we've used rectangles and triangles. All right, now I want to make some other train cars. So I'm going to get some different colors, and I'm going to cut out rectangles again. So I'm going to have a yellow car. I'm going to have a blue car. Actually, I think I'll put the yellow in there. And I'm going to have a light blue. So I have a dark blue and a light blue. And they're all going to be rectangles. And they don't have to be the exact same size. You can make them some bigger, some smaller, because that's how train cars are. Some are bigger, some are smaller. All right, so now that I have those cut out, I want to glue those on. Now, you can decide if you want this to be a freight train or a passenger train. So if it's a freight train, you might make some shapes to put things coming out of the top, like it's carrying something. Freight means it's carrying things. Passenger means it has people in it. So I'm going to make mine a passenger train. So I need to put some windows in these train cars. So I have another piece of white paper, and I'm going to try to make squares this time. But if they're not perfect, that's fine. So I think I need to go a little smaller. Let's see. So it looks like I can fit 2 windows in each car. Okay, so then I'm going to glue those on. Oh, I forgot the engineer. He needs a window, or he'll crash the train. He won't be able to see where he's going. So he's going to get a bit of a bigger window. All right, now I'm going to glue my windows on. This shape train is coming along nicely. Okay. So what's missing from our train? Can you think of what's missing? Wheels. We need wheels to run on the tracks. So I have to make 2 wheels for each car. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have to make 8 wheels, and I'm going to use my black paper to make 8 wheels. So I like to do it the quick way. So I fold my paper a few times. And then I'm actually going to trace the cap of my glue stick to be the wheels. So I'm just taking my pencil and I'm tracing it around. And I'm going to do it twice and hope that I get enough wheels. So if your train is as big as mine, you need 8 wheels. Now, train wheels are metal. They're not like car wheels. They're metal and they have a space in the middle that runs on the track. So it keeps the train on the track. Okay, let's see what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, now look at that. It's looking good. Now we have to glue all of these on. So now we've used rectangles, squares, triangles, well, 1 triangle, and circles. All the shapes from the video. All right, so I have a black marker here. And I'm just going to use that to draw connections between each of the cars because they're all linked together. And so I'm just showing that by drawing a black, well, it's kind of like a rectangle. And now you can add whatever else you want. If you want to draw your engineer in the window, if you want to draw some people in the windows, you could color the bottom of it green for grass and the top of it blue for sky. Or you could paint it with watercolor paints. So really the rest is up to you. So I hope you had fun making a shape train. And I will see you next week with some more art lessons. Have a great weekend. Bye.